This Bible quilt, created by the African-American artist Harriet Powers, has been called a sermon in patchwork. In this Bible quilt, Powers employs scenes from the Bible to construct a narrative of creativity and violence, of sin and salvation. This quilt, which Powers called the offspring of my brain, is a visual proclamation of her creative intelligence and spiritual vision. Because she was a former slave, it has been wrongly assumed that Powers was illiterate. But in fact, we have a letter written by Powers herself in which she describes how she learned to read. Powers describes how she would read the Bible for herself. Powers may have even considered herself a lay minister. This quilt is a visual sermon in which Powers depicts biblical narratives that were personally significant to her. This Bible quilt begins with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The second panel continues in paradise with Adam, Eve, and their son Cain. The panel in the upper right depicts Satan. The middle row begins with Cain killing his own brother Abel. The bleeding body of Abel is surrounded by his sheep. And in the next panel, Cain finds a wife and starts a new family. This middle row continues with scenes of Jacob's dream and the baptism of Christ. These are both narratives in which heaven opens up with a spiritual blessing. The third row is constructed to be read from right to left. The Christ child stands between Mary and Joseph. And in the final panel, we see the crucifixion of Christ. Powers designed the compositional arrangement of these panels to construct interpretive connections. Notice, for example, how the stream of blood flowing from Abel visually unites the first death in the Bible with the crucifixion of Christ. This connection that Powers constructs between Abel and Christ is very insightful. Abel is both a shepherd and a martyr. His death prefigures the crucifixion of Christ, who is also a shepherd and a martyr. Does anyone have any questions?
I was wondering why Cain is depicted so many times. He's not one of the most popular figures in the Bible.
Powers employs the story of Cain to visualize a narrative of creation, evil, violence, and salvation. In this sequence of panels, Cain is born in paradise. Everything is perfect for this first family of humanity. And then Satan appears. Cain becomes corrupted by evil and murders his own brother. But that's not the end of the story. Cain is redeemed. In this colorfully vibrant panel, we see that Cain is blessed by God with a new family, inspired by a faith that supported her through unimaginable ordeals. Powers created a Bible quilt that is theologically complex and visually commanding.